let's get it going, man. Let's get it. Waiting for that big drop. What's up, everybody?
Right.
What's going on, y'all? Hey, welcome to Rev Sports. We're going to be reviewing the second half of the quarterback show there on Netflix. I'm Tvshka. Joined with me is Josh Mabry. What's going on, Josh? How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. The second half was not as good as the first half. I'll just spoil alert for people, but still a great time as a sports nut. But as far as me personally, there's some things I can complain about, but that's not part of the show.
You're right. Yeah, that's neither here nor there.
Right.
Yeah, let me just a little bit. But yeah, man. We took a little hiatus last night. I know, Josh, you had quite the weekend.
More so that's why I said no, neither here nor there. But I had a lot of life things that happened last night.
Yeah. But we're here tonight, so we don't need to rehash those. No. But yeah, man. Yeah. Appreciate you. Just kind of taking time and focusing on that, and we'll get right back to it. Mm-hmm. So where we left off, we went through episodes 1 through 4 out of 8. So tonight we're going to be doing 5 through 8, and we're going to kind of talk about a little bit at the end, maybe what we expect for next season, maybe pros and cons, maybe things we really liked, maybe things we didn't like through the season, where changes we want to see Peyton do, and then then also, man, who's the quarterback's going to be anyways, but maybe next season they just call it running back, and then they just go through a whole new set.
No, it's just the whole thing of them just having contract negotiations. We do not need to have running back, because the whole running back would be like, we're going to man. We're like, but here's the reason why, and they're like, God damn it, I know, but I'm like, but as a fan, I want you to get paid. We're just getting the whole thing.
Yeah, that stuff's heating up because there's a Zoom conference.
Not just the whole NFLPA, but just the running back is going to unionize, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I mean, and hey, hopefully they get the bag. Hopefully they get paid. Everybody puts their bodies through a lot, their mind a lot, through a lot, and that's what we saw actually. Especially like episode 4 was called Mind Games, but episode 5 actually called Roller Coaster, which is very fitting. Because all 3 storylines, I mean, of course, the way they edit it together, timeline is not exact same, but all 3 had pretty big up and down.
Right.
With Kirk Cousins and the Vikings, they had a lot of wins, but then they had a lot of bad losses, and it just seemed like once they had a really good win, they had a really bad loss, and they had another really good win, another really bad loss. So roller coaster for them. That they got Mariota kind of. With the quarterback change that we all know happened because it did already happen in the past if you followed the NFL. But then, then we also had kind of the family baby dynamics for some of them. And but yeah, it's good stuff. But anyways, so episode 5, let's just try this time. I'll lead off. I'll just do the synopsis and then we'll get to you for the notes. So episode 5 is called Roller Coaster. Mariota and his wife find calm preparing for the birth of their baby. I don't know why that sentence threw me off. Following a loss, Mahomes relaxes with family, and then cousin gets redemption. So, yeah, man, episode 5, Roller Coaster. What really stood out to you? And, what was your favorite spots?
So what really stood out to me in this is how much Mariota took a back seat. Like, as soon as it just, I don't know what happened with the production. This is straight up, it's a review. So, like, I don't know what happened with the production, but all of a sudden, just Mariota, they're like, oh, by the way, Mariota's going to get benched, and he's not going to be, and then he's going to get knee surgery. Now, I don't know if I'm jumping ahead to episode 6. I apologize, but just straight off the rip, for the back half of the season, for Mariota's journey, it went from, we're doing this, we're doing that. Like, these quarterbacks are like, this is how they approach the game, and then Mariota has a hardship. And he's pretty much just like he quits on the team. Like that's what the show told us, that he quit on the team. Now whether he did or not, I don't know. But I mean they did bench him, and he didn't play good enough. He never threw the ball. Trust me, for all the Pitts owners, Kyle Pitts owners of the world, they know Marcus Mariota never threw the ball.
Pity City, baby.
Yeah. On that. Now that's number one. Number two, I feel like I sound like singing Dave Smith for some reason. Like that's number one. Number two, like whatever.
Number two.
That's number one.
Yeah, no, you're good, man. You can count. You can use the
number
alphabet.
two.
Number
it was
B.
kind of nice as a Cowboys fan to see the loss.
Right.
But I will say this about this show showed me is they never tilted. The organization itself, they can tilt during a game, but they didn't tilt as an organization, and which is very telling as a culture and as a quarterback. Much less, I mean, obviously focus on Kirk, but as a quarterback and a coaching staff and a culture that they're trying to build is even when they get there, literally, like I've never seen. I did not expect the Cowboys to beat. I mean, they embarrassed, and it was at Minnesota. Yeah. They embarrassed the Minnesota Vikings, and and as we know, that was a great team this past season. And you know what happened? They rebounded and they still moved on. Which that was what stood out to me this episode is they got their ass kicked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 40-3 was the final.
And then I remember, and that you saw like the coaches came over. He wasn't pissed at Kirk. He just said, "Let's just move on." And of course, Kirk was, they had a good night. Of course, Kirk is. I'll say my overall about Kirk at the end, but the coach came over, said his 2 cents, and then the team just moved on to the next game. It's a golf. It was a golf thing. Yes, did it end up being an avalanche of a game? Sure. But it didn't ruin their season. They stayed the course,
right?
Which is very telling of an organization and a quarterback that didn't go on tilt, whereas Mariota did. Because as soon as negativity or whatever you want to call it started to hit him and started going the opposite way, some would say that he quit on the team. And then Mahomes is, I mean, he had a bad game for Mahomes standards. It wasn't until the next episode that we really saw Mahomes be the Mahomes that we know he is.
Mm-hmm.
But I really and truly the cool thing about the Mahomes of this episode is his Brittany going, the baby's going to arrive at 8. Oh wait, now it's going to arrive at 8:30.
8:30, yeah.
So that lets you know like the difference between the quarterbacks that they're following is like one got their ass kicked, rebounded. One got their ass kicked, can't rebound, and one is figuring out when their baby's going to be delivered, even though he had a bad game. That is kind of where you like, why is this quarterback so much better than the other quarterbacks? This is the episode that kind of shows you why.
Yeah, and that's where like with Mahomes having the bad game, in the documentary, it kind of even shows it that people were blowing up Brittany's social media and saying like, "Oh my God, she's having the baby. That's why Patrick's having a bad game." It's like, no, like just not tweeting a whole bunch, not living online right now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, yeah, he threw some interceptions. Dropped a few F-bombs as far as how disappointed he was in himself, because he is used to playing at a high caliber. He's all of them are performing at a high level of excellence. But for him, I mean, he would probably rather have less interceptions than more touchdowns.
Oh, for sure.
Even though his stats do not show that. But yeah, no, like, but kind of jumping back to it, I really liked that. For the scheduled birth, they're actually naming, they named their son Bronze, or well, not named him Bronze, but Patrick, Mahomes the third, but his nickname's Bronze.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, is he just kind of trying to rival LeBron and his family, right. Them, but then to see the human side, you see Mariota, go and give out shoes at a school. And then, I think with this one, you see Cousins kind of going out and, Cousins goes out and kind of serves some Thanksgiving, dinners and such. But yeah, one really cool thought of as far as like baby blankets. I mean, I know like I don't know about your family. We had those quilts. Oh, let's make quilts out of the t-shirts or this and that. You kind of have these memento quilts. But for Mariota, his baby blanket is made of the colors of their wedding day. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Just because the wedding colors look pretty dope too. They were Oregon duck colors,
Yeah.
and those are just cool colors in general. But yeah. So that was kind of cool to see a little more of the insight there. But Mariota getting a win on his birthday, and an overtime thrilling win. I mean, like watching this episode and then I think the next one, it's some of the most dramatic games, and it's just like crap. We need to go back and rewatch those.
Well, that Carolina game was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, which one was the Falcons Carolina one? Yeah.
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 The one at Atlanta, the Carolina one at Carolina. We're not going to talk about it.
Yeah, right.
They did focus on it.
But yeah, because this one got them, I think like close to 500. But then but you have the Vikings who had a tough loss against Cowboys. Then they rebound and they beat the Patriots on the Thanksgiving Day game.
Mm-hmm.
And so since that was the Fox one, then of course the trademark turducken comes into play, and it shows the team having a good time with that, especially Cousins. Just everybody he meets. Oh, it's turducken. It's turducken.
He was such a kid in a candy store when it came to that turducken. Like he kept
God,
eating it and like just like talking to his teammates, and none of them like the whole time in the locker room they're just like want to get out of there. And he's like, guys, it's turducken. I'm like, you have no seasoning. You're just your typical white bread, which is fine. Yeah. We love you who you are, Cousins, but dang it, is he just like, hey guys, it's turducken? And we're like, and I was like, I'm just
he literally gets the game ball and is like, oh cool, yeah, like, hey, it's turducken. Just like still eating. It's
like as the coach is like giving the speech, he's just like, guys, it's turducken.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's like the cringe that Kirk Cousins is, but he's Kirk Cousins. It's like, I can't hate you. Like but you are Kirk Cousins. Like they even showed it today of like Kirk Cousins coming into Ricky camp or like the camp, and I mean he dresses like a pastor.
Well, his wife dresses him.
Yeah, he dressed like a youth pastor, and like someone just did a picture of him. Goes, respect the drip. It's just like he dresses like a youth pastor. It's just he's a cross necklace away from being a youth pastor, which is nothing against him, but I'm just like, dude.
But hey, speaking of necklaces, though, I mean he's famous for the chains, baby, and that comes up later on in the season, but. Yeah. At the Thanksgiving event where they're giving out food, people had like just regular beads, kind of like Mardi Gras beads, and had him wear it for camera. So for a guy that doesn't have style, he's known for having a lot of different styles and quotes. Man, it's funny.
He's the wider Fitzpatrick. Like remember Fitzpatrick, like he was, Fitzmagic or whatever. Like he came through with like the button-down shirt, like the cool button-down shirts, and like it had his like chest showing or whatever, because like he actually he had a chain, but he actually like did it on purpose. They made Cousins do that, so he's like the like whiter version of Fitzpatrick, even though Fitzpatrick is white. Like that's just kind of
because even his dance.
Yeah. He was dancing like
Are you just like rocking? Like you're not even like moving his shoulders and nothing? Okay. All right. Yeah.
But he's pretty coordinated as quarterback. So.
Yeah. Coordinated. And he can also sing, which we see later on.
Mm-hmm.
So roller coaster. I mean, any other kind of notable things we should mention before we move on to episode 6?
I mean, it just. Kind of going forward, it was weird that Mariota disappeared in the series.
Yeah, right. That's what they leave off with.
But it was so weird that it just once they made the change, and you thought that they was really going to go into the mental state of him being replaced, and just kind of piggyback and like going into episode 6. Once they made the change, and then they go, "You quit on the team." And then he had the knee surgery. Goes, it was my decision. And then that was it. We just really never heard anything until the last episode, where they just followed up on him resigning with another team.
Yeah.
And that's one of my cons that I had about this series, that they really just did not want to get into the bad stuff. And isn't that the point?
I mean, maybe not. I mean, again, we compare it to Hard Knocks, where that's what they seek. They seek the drama, the fights. They look for all that. So maybe this is one where it's like, hey, we're just going to put everybody in a positive light because maybe they're just trying to, I think what this is overall is just an international marketing aspect. I mean, because they're trying to market the game internationally. So then, hey, let's show everybody what it takes to be a quarterback. So then, then that maybe people, in Europe and, Africa and across the world will start wanting to become a quarterback. So maybe they're trying to shy away from that stuff. Maybe it was a personal choice. Maybe he actually had that in the contract or something, or, where it's like, hey, I just had my kid, I'm getting surgery. I just need, time and space, maybe. Or maybe they did get the footage and they just decided to cut it out because it's depressing or something. I'm not sure, but yeah. But it is a noticeable drop because whereas he had maybe 15, 20% of each of the shows, kind of, it goes to pretty much nil, where it's just maybe like one scene, and that's in the next episode. Episode 6, Under Pressure. So kind of to lead off with it, his future in limbo, Mariota bonds with his baby. Julie Cousins nearly misses a historic finish, and one team seems to have figured out the Chiefs, but they haven't.
No, spoiler alert. No one really did.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, you already hit on Mariota. What are some of the other aspects of this episode that really stood out to you?
That Mahomes is a gamer.
Yeah, he's that guy.
If no one thought that he was him, like this was the episode, I was like, God dang, it's like one of those things. Like I want to hate you, but I know you are correct. Like it just like it's like that scene from Forgetting Sarah Marshall with
oh man, I just rewatched that.
Yeah. The guy that played Aldous Snow. I'm blanking on his actual name.
Oh God, right? Oh my God, what is? Yeah,
they're sitting there on the surfboard. He's just like, I want to hate you so much, but you're so cool. And it's just kind of like when you saw him as when Patrick Mahomes
Russell Brand.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is different than Russell Brand. Like Russell Brand in that movie, I'll just know he was a douchebag. Patrick Mahomes has never been come across a douchebag. He's just as anything in sports. When you're that good, people are going to be jealous of you because you're just that naturally gifted and you're that good.
Yeah, so it's like Tom Brady in his later part of the career.
Right.
Like early on, people were just like, "Oh yeah, that's nothing." Like because Tom didn't really come out super hot. I mean, they came out and won Super Bowl, but yeah. It is success breeds enemies.
Yeah,
and people are just going to want to hate just to hate.
Right. And so it's just like this was the episode where I'm like, quit making me like you, you know, type of thing. As like obviously my co-host here, he's always going to love Patrick Mahomes because he plays for his team. He's always going to play for his team unless some, knock on wood, something crazy happens where the Chiefs would actually trade him, which why?
Yeah. No.
But anyway, when he got his ankle injury and Andy Reid was protecting him, and I mean, there was 6 coaches, training staff. There were 6 people from training staff to Andy Reid to Bieniemy to Nagy. And they kept trying to tell him, go get X-rays, and he was like, "No, dog, I won't go in." You know, and it was like a minute left in the second half, and but
that's in the playoffs though. That's in the playoffs.
I'm aware, but still.
Right, but that's not this episode.
Oh no, this is the Jaguars episode. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
This one we got hurt.
Yeah.
Still got hurt.
Yeah.
In this episode. And this is they did the X-rays in this episode.
Was it in this one? Okay.
Yes.
Because Under Pressure, episode 6.
Yes. This is the Jaguars episode.
That's what they talk about Cincinnati Bengals in the regular season.
Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, go ahead.
You definitely are. Let me jump through and go through a few pointers on this one. But yeah, no. So we start off with the birth of Kaya Mariota, which means God's gift. And then Mahomes goes on the New Heights podcast with Jason and Travis Kelce, which is amazing.
If you haven't watched, if you haven't listened to it,
oh my gosh,
listen to that
yes.
podcast.
If you haven't watched any New Heights podcast, just watch it. They're great. I mean, just to spin off of that or riff off of that, like those two brothers have such good chemistry, period. On top of being brothers, but then just the story and even just chronologically, like documenting two historic seasons for their own franchises, and then having one of the most historic like storyline kind of Super Bowls, with the Kelsey Bowl. It's just really cool to see. And so Mahomes goes on there and has a good time. And they're talking about the Bengals, talking about how, they've had their number the last couple of games. And then the regular season, spoiler alert, they do beat them again for the third time. Yeah. But it's cool. We will gladly give anybody the regular season games if it means we get the championship games. And that's what we did. But Cousins talks about taking off Tuesdays. That was one thing I liked. I know we talked about that, the first prep meeting. But yeah, just having that kind of sabbatical, that Sabbath, or, that 24-hour break where he doesn't do anything football. He doesn't watch film. He doesn't study. He's not, working out. He goes on a walk with his wife and the dogs, takes the kids to school. I mean, it's just one of those days where he can completely empty out and just focus on his family. And it's just one of those moments where you really kind of you appreciate them, but you also, I feel like, just in the greater sense, you appreciate the NFL player and just kind of how much commitment they really put into those, 6-7 months.
And also he writes those letters. He goes to his fan mail that day. And if you don't think that, he's just doing it for the show, there's a war that he gets that we're going to talk about a bit later. That realizes that no, that's who Kirk Cousins is. And again, that's why I'm like, at the end of the series, I knew I had respect for Kirk Cousins. I really do have respect for Kirk Cousins at the end of this. Now, granted, like I said, is there any seasoning to his personality? No, there's nothing.
Doesn't need to be though.
But it doesn't need to be. Like, Kirk Cousins is exactly what you want Kirk Cousins to be. If he was my quarterback, I'd be fine with it. And that and the fact that after watching this, if he was my quarterback, I would be like, I know that he's trying to get there. It's not like he understands where he's at. Like, at the end of this series, not to just kind of overlap, I know we're going episode by episode, but like at the end of the series, he knows that he's getting the criticism.
Yeah.
And he wants that. And you could feel it so freaking bad in this series that he wants that. He wants to get to that next level. Just shit happens.
Yeah. Because and then next episode, we kind of talk about a little bit of performance on.
Yeah, I kind of jumped ahead. I thought.
Yeah. No, you're good. No, you're good. Like kind of jumping back to the fan mail. Those are the ones that we really don't see a whole lot of. I mean, you kind of hear about it a little bit, when they did the Walter Payton Award or, some of these, community service ones, but it is very, very common for, a lot of major sports athletes and even celebrities too. But, just take the time, to write back, to, sign a card for someone that's incarcerated, someone that's going through, months of chemotherapy or, whatever their life has. And even though it may be a little bit of an unhealthy relationship as far as like on our end, where we're expecting so much of these people and putting them on these pedestals and, almost, idolizing them to an extent, but for them to just know that something so small for them makes such an impact in somebody's life, it's really cool to see that. And I think we'll see a lot more of that as they go through each season. But so then, kind of continue on with some of the episode 6 Under Pressure. So the Chiefs lose to the Bengals, but then, the next game is the Broncos and Mahomes throws 3 interceptions in a close game. And we had a good lead, 3 interceptions that'll turn around any game. And somehow Mr. Unlimited actually capitalized on a few of those, but did capitalize on enough because the Chiefs, squeak out with a win against a divisional opponent. And then that starts a little bit of a winning montage, which was cool. All I do is win, win. And Mahomes crosses the 5,000 yard passing mark for the season. But then they also talk about the infamous snow globe play, which, Josh, if you want to talk about this, I think I'm just going to go ahead and find it and bring it up.
You can bring it up. They did this, and they did this again, I think, in the AFC Championship game. Or no, was it the Super Bowl? I think they did the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think so. And I think there was like a false start or something that killed it.
As you bring it up, I'm going to take a second break as you bring it up, because we can edit this, guys. Movie magic.
Taking a second break? For what?
Oh, never mind. I can stand here.
Why are you taking breaks for?
I don't know.
If you take breaks, you got to leave your... Oh, this one's actually want to pull up the Snow Globe 2.0. Okay.
Okay. That's the Super Bowl, I think.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, let's see. Let's go ahead and present. Yeah, no, you
Chargers. I thought it was the Chargers. Oh, you need to take a break now?
Mm-hmm. Well, I was going to say, because I'll pull this up and talk about it if you need to take a break.
I'll be right back.
All right, bud. All right. It is... Share this one. Here we go. Well, we don't need system audio. We're good on without that. But so this is the one in the Super Bowl where this time they only had the secondary do it, where the first time they actually had the line do that as well. But this one doesn't work as well as the first one did. Just throws it out of there. But yeah. So the snow globe, it's cool whenever they kind of talk about that, because it shows Andy Reid's trust in the players. I think one of the earlier episodes they talked about, how they have a little bit of like a kitchen or lab day where the players get to work on their own plays. And so this is something that kind of spurred a little bit out of that, with the guidance of Coach Reid. But he talks about it as far as, they were working on it. They really liked it as a play, and they just decided to throw it in. And so there we go. Yeah, here's the Raiders one. We share the screen again. Yeah, if you guys are watching later, thank you for joining us, Ruckus Entertainment and Variety. Feel free to follow us at Ruckus EV everywhere. Yeah. But here's the first one, bud. Yeah, so it was the
and then
Raiders
who held. 57 held.
52. No, it was Humphrey.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was his throw. Like that was. All right, so 52 right here, and it's because he had that shoulder, I guess, but yeah. Bullshit.
That's bull. That was bull.
Yeah, bullshit call, but that's all right. I mean that happens. That happens from time to time.
Yeah.
But
yeah. But no, yeah, the what they call it, the snow cone, right?
Snow globe.
Snow globe. Yeah. And then they ran something like that. Was it in the Super Bowl? No, it wasn't Super Bowl. Was it the Super Bowl?
Yeah, it was Super Bowl. That's what we just showed, the first one.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's called Arctic Circle Snow Globe Trotter is the full one. But even in that show, that's where Pat was just like, oh, dude, as soon as I say Arctic Circle, everybody's going to know like what it is as far as like, the Chiefs team players. And then, then they had to assign spots for everybody. So they wanted to do reindeer. And since there's 12 reindeer, and 11 players, they said that was the only way they could really get every player kind of in the mix. But the difference, though, I kind of pointed out to the group, as far as those watching. Sorry, now I noticed it actually didn't even show. There we go.
Oh, the actual, like, them circling up?
Well, yeah, because in the Super Bowl, the linemen are already lined up. And
this is like a full formation.
Yeah, this one is the whole group of them So they probably changed it up, maybe just to give them a little bit of a different look than the first, or maybe just so they can get better set, because maybe that was the reason why they had gotten called for holding, even though it's really more so because Creed Humphreys just manhandles.
I think it's the referees are like, I don't like this, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah.
Well, he did, I mean, he did hug him, but
that's what it was. He didn't get the shoulder.
He hugged him.
Yeah, that's what it was. So he went on the other side of it. So okay, because the other angle looked like he actually had gotten the shoulder.
No, you hug him like that, that's a holding all day.
Yeah. Still bullshit, but yeah.
Well, I understand.
No. It's the right play can still be bullshit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it's your team. But
yeah, but that's I'll save it for the end of the episode for the overall views. So
okay, yeah. But to kind of wrap up episode 6, Under Pressure. You got the snookel play, but then you got Cousin attends a meeting with his team psychologist, which was cool as well.
Second time this series.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah, they did show it one time earlier. But yeah, just showing how mental health, isn't a negative thing. It's a positive thing as far as being mindful of it and just knowing yourself. So, BetterHelp.com.
And also the largest comeback
victory
in NFL history.
Yes. Like this is one we do need to watch.
Yeah.
It was against the Colts. I know Pat McAfee curses this game all the time.
Well, this is the Jeff Saturday, like after he came off, I think, beating the Raiders, and then they went up by 33.
Was it really that soon after?
Oh, yes. Mark Wright. Yeah. I don't think Wright was not the coach. He already got fired by that point.
Yeah.
This was that later on in the season, and they just beat the Raiders, and then they just went up by 33 against the Vikings, and everyone at halftime were like, oh, I guess Jeff Saturday is that good. And then they never won a game. The Vikings came back and won.
Yeah.
They won the biggest comeback in NFL history. They won their division, because that's the thing. They won the division on the game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how late it was. So Jeff Saturday was the coach. And
well, that, but also just there was no competition in that division. I mean, because the Packers were statistically eliminated fairly early on.
The Bears sucked. Detroit actually was not work. Detroit was like the Cincinnati Reds they are now in baseball. It's like they're fun to watch, but they're just not there yet. But they're competitive. But the Packers took a downswing because Aaron Rodgers was one step out the door. I don't care what you say. He was 1 foot out the door. He was just kind of there.
I've
never seen him. He just wasn't mentally committed. And
he was battling an injury too.
He's battling a lot of mental things, but not just injuries. I'm with you. But when Aaron Rodgers, he did it because there was no probably any place else for him to go at the time. But now he's with the Jets, and if he plays like he did last year, then we know he just lost a step and wasn't because of his relationship with the Packers.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Who has good relationships is the Minnesota Vikings. So at that time they were 11-3, and the Colts were 4-9-1 because the NFL is smart and changed overtime to where we could get ties now. Dumb.
They've always had ties.
Tie games? No.
They've always had ties. Yes, they have.
Well, the previous
it was that the first team, if they went down and scored a field goal, game was over. Then they switched the rules that says that the first team that goes down, if they score a field goal, the other team has a chance to go back and score a field goal, and they can tie it up. Or if the first team gets the ball, if they go and score a touchdown, the game's over. Hence, New England Patriots against the Atlanta Falcons in Super Bowl when that thing happened. So you'll see a lot more ties now because no one either gets in field goal range, or they'll get in field goal range and the other team will go down and score a field goal. Right,
but they took away the multiple overtimes because there was double overtimes and everything of that nature that ultimately decided a game. Now, because of television contracts and just the excitement of it. They're just like, well, we don't want to overextend our welcome and go 7 overtimes like some of the greatest college games ever. They should have just taken the college overtime because that's the best one.
A&M LSU was really good that one year.
God dang it, Arkansas LSU, like
Yes.
historic game.
Oh no, it was Arkansas Kentucky was really good.
That may be another one too, but the Arkansas LSU one's the one I'm thinking of. That was 7 overtimes back in like
that was A&M LSU.
No, Arkansas was for sure the one I'm thinking of.
Right.
Yeah.
SEC.
But, yeah. Anyways, probably multiple now, but
yeah.
but yeah. So, anyways, regardless of ties, we're kind of deviating a lot on this one.
Yeah,
so let's jump.
We're talking about Aaron Rodgers for some reason.
Yeah. Well, hey, when we talk about the Vikings and NFC North, but then so they pull off the largest comeback in NFL history. And what's cool is then after the game, one of the other players had their son in the locker room, and then Kirk was like, "Oh, dude, if we're doing this, I'm getting my son." Yeah. And so his son got to experience that locker room, and that's like such an awesome moment because that just kind of empowers, it reaffirms that relationship, kind of probably with the father, but really empowers the kid because you look at Patrick Mahomes, who grew up in an MLB locker room, with his dad. And so, that probably helps with a little bit of maturity if they go into that sports realm because it's not something brand new to them. It's something they've experienced or grew up with. But anyways, so what do you do after you get done with the game? You go home. So episode 7, win or go home. Cousin comes home from a playoff loss and unwinds by singing with his kids. Mahomes shares his pregame rituals and later limps off the field. And not a whole lot of Mariota in this one. But Josh, take it away.
So just to kind of like wrap up the last episode, because I forgot about it until you brought it up.
Okay.
It was a cool thing of him just trying to tell his son, eat these chicken fingers, was kind of funny to me. Because like the whole time he's like, want some chicken fingers? And he was like, no, I just want strawberries. He goes, okay. So do you want some chicken? Like I think he said it like 3 times to his kid. He goes, all right, I'm just gonna get you some chicken fingers because you need to eat these. Like he just wanted his son to get some protein. And also too with you realize his son doesn't come down to the locker room a lot. It just kind of came across it like this is
right.
I'm let me do my thing. You do your thing. Like my son doesn't need to be exposed to this because I don't want him to feel like he needs to be a football player because his dad does it. But like you said, it was a special moment. He was like, all right, I need my son down here, type of thing. But he really wanted to just keep there's my football team, there's my family. My family comes first and my faith comes first. But when it comes to my locker room, it's sacred. And that was like the one time he's like, all right, let's bring the kid down. Right. As a person who's never played football ever, has never been in that sacred locker room, I kind of understood what he was coming from.
Yeah. Well, and kind of what I gathered from that was it was almost like he was surprised that they were allowed to have their kids there from his reaction to seeing somebody else's kids. So I wonder if maybe it's kind of a team rule. Hey, no family in the locker rooms, because there are people changing. There's a lot of nudity in the locker room.
Right.
I mean, it is a changing room ultimately. So I don't know if it's maybe some of that nature, just kind of protect kids from that. But yeah, they did let him in there. And nothing was seen on camera, so we're good.
and to kind of like deviate as far as like kids and fathers who play for the team, a little fun thing just going with Ken Griffey Jr., who we all know.
Right.
So his dad played for the Yankees at one point. It was Ken Griffey Sr. They played the same time at one point. And when he went to say that he wanted to go play catch with Junior, and the guy was like, no, Steinbrenner will not allow kids in a locker room or something of that nature. And they go, well, so-and-so's out there playing catch with their kid on the field. So Junior's on record of saying, hey, man, you should sign with the Yankees. He goes, I'd rather retire than sign with the Yankees because they did his dad so dirty.
Right.
about the locker room. So when you brought that up, I'm like, that makes sense. Like the locker room,
right.
they have different rules between different organizations. But the fact that you screwed yourself on signing Junior,
right.
for like arguably
Oh
one
my
of the greatest
gosh.
baseball players who ever played the game, is probably the point. But as far as episode 7, this is a great episode. I wish we had more Mariota of his trials and tribulations that he's going through, but you get the playoffs. You get the full
Playoffs.
Playoffs. I hope we win the damn game. Jim Mora, you're the best. So if you didn't pay attention to the last the previous 15 minutes that I just said, this is what I was talking about of what Kirk Cousins went through and Patrick Mahomes, and when you saw why Patrick Mahomes is him, this is the episode that you realize that was him. So I'll let you take over for what your opinion is, because I just gave my opinion to this episode. Other than the Kirk Cousins part, I have some other things that I liked about this episode with Kirk Cousins, but I'll let you give your Patrick Mahomes diatribe because I just already gave one.
Yeah. No, you're good. Yeah. I also thought of another quote where you're like, because he is that guy who we thought he was, and like, they are who we thought they were.
Right. We let them off the hook. No, you can't let them off the hook. They're just that good.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So kind of, like we referenced earlier, Cousins, is looking to improve his performance, and they kind of bring back the chiropractor. I mean, it's the same one they kind of showed in one of the earlier episodes, but they go in kind of in a little more detail of like, okay, this hit and kind of caused this issue here, and and their goal was just to improve it by 3%. Whatever that metric may be as far as mobility or just overall injury or recovery time. I'm not sure what, they didn't break that down as far as what they were looking at, but just goes to show, like, I mean, these players take not just the steps they're asked to and paid to do by the organizations. They're taking extra steps and investing their own money into really just trying to be at the top of their game, and while they're there. And so for Mahomes, and they kind of talk about Bobby Stroop, and so they're on the playoff bye week because they did get the number 1 seed, and which was a little bit of confusion because of the Cincinnati Bengals and the Buffalo Bills situation with Marlon Hamlin. So it was unfortunate that happened. We're definitely glad he turned out all right, and hopefully getting him back. But
back in training camp, man, that's crazy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's definitely going to be an emotional one for them. But he's working out, and we even talked about it. I was like, man, this looks dangerous. So he's doing the workout with the barbell, but doing jumps on boxes, and like switching feet. So of course he's a top tier athlete. I mean, world class athlete, where we're not. So even just getting the bar on my shoulders would probably cause some injury. But yeah, for these guys, I mean, they're just for his I don't know if Bobby's a physical therapist. I forgot what the actual term was.
I think he's
we had notes up earlier, but but hardcore trainer, because he's really trying to work on all these ancillary muscle groups and movements, to where it's not just honing in on the standard set that everybody does. It's, hey, because you're throwing sidearm, because you're twisting, because you're doing all these other things, that's what we need to get stronger at and need to work on, building, but then also rehabbing properly. And, and I don't know. I mean, it gets weird whenever he gets injured for sure. But then, they also go through Mahomes' house, which is cool, because I've seen, video of that now that is completed. They show some aerial footage of it. I mean, he's got his own, I think 25 or 50 yard football field. And so he has people over all the time and just kind of running drills out of there. So I'm wondering if they're going to start doing that instead of going down to Texas, because that's what they typically do right now. Is he goes down to Texas, and they're working out at all these different colleges, before the draft, and and then even after the draft, they get new rookies. Great, come down to the Mahomes camp, because training starts now. It doesn't start in July.
Yeah.
It starts now. But anyways, yeah. So just I guess maybe just stick with Mahomes. Yeah, he gets hurt, man, and it was one of those things where it was like, okay, definitely cause for concern. But I've also seen this dude's kneecap come out, and he still, plays the next game. So, luckily with Henny, Chad Henny, hashtag anything is possible. He won us a game a few years back, to kind of get us, to the Super Bowl. And, it was one of those things where it's just probably because more so we're spoiled with just really good play from the Chiefs as a Chiefs fan. But it was like never really like a gut drop moment. It was just like, oh shit, okay, just take it easy, man. Like let the team get it. We're just thinking about, okay, how do we win this game, and then just get to the next and give him time to recover because he's an insane freak athlete. But it did not necessarily recover fully. But yeah, I mean. You hate to see it, and gosh, man, I mean, every time they show a lot of that video and a lot more of the audio that we've heard before, NFL films and some of the other ones. I mean, you kind of hear maybe more of the PG stuff or little blurps, but the unfiltered and uncut audio that we kind of hear for a minute or so. Man, yeah, it definitely hurts me just kind of thinking about it. How about you?
So I realized how good of you never realize how good a coach is until their backup goes in and just nothing stops. But you realize that Patrick Mahomes is still him, but you also realize how good of a coach you have and why it took Patrick Mahomes to get Andy Reid to this level. Because Chad Henne went in and maybe the fifth best product to come out of Michigan as far as a quarterback.
Right.
Like, I mean, Brian Greasy was all right for him, whatever. But like still, like
there's another guy, number 12, he's okay.
Yeah, I would say like, there's 6, 7 round draft pick. He did okay in his life. But like Chad Henne went in, it was like nothing happened. But the thing is, when Tom Brady went out that one year, I forget, he played for the Chiefs. Help me out.
Matt Castle.
Yeah, Matt Castle. Yeah. So Matt Castle came in, was great for the Patriots, and then he signed with the Chiefs and was okay. Now, granted, he played for.
I think he was in a little bit of the tumultuous coaching years.
Right.
So we had Romeo Cornell.
Was he Vassal? Did he play for Vassal?
Vassal?
The old Rams coach.
Vermeil. No.
Vermeil. Sorry. No. Vermeil. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you go. I was like, Vassal? I'm like, what are you trying to call me?
I know it was a V, and he's a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah. No, man. Oh, my God. And we should have. That was 2004. That was our year for sure.
Was it Larry Johnson or the Priest Holmes year?
Priest Holmes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we had Trent Green, Priest Holmes, Tony Gonzalez. I mean, we had the pieces. We had a decent defense. Dante Hall, the X Factor dude, crushing it. But I mean, we just still had, John Elway, I think, for a little bit because that was in his twilight of his seasons or his career. And then
no, Elway never played for the Chiefs. You're talking about Joe Montana.
I'm not saying he played for the Chiefs.
Okay.
I'm saying we had to play against him.
Oh, okay.
In the twilight of his career. And I can't remember exactly when Manning made the switch over, but we just had like a hard time kind of getting out of the division sometimes, and then even then you had the Patriots and the Colts to deal with on top of the Baltimore Ravens and Steelers. I mean, there was a lot of good teams, so we just never really quite made it over that hump, But yeah, Castle, I'm not sure exactly when he came into the picture. But I feel like it was like Romeo Cornell or God, man, there was like a couple of other ones that were just like 1 year, 2 year. Todd Haley.
Yeah.
We had him for like a year or two. So it was a little bit of that. That's kind of the dark time for sure.
And then Philadelphia it was like it worked out for both teams, as we know. That Andy Reid just ran his course with Philadelphia, and Chiefs were like, all right, we'll take him. I'm like, why wouldn't you take
Mhm.
Andy Reid? It's
Yeah.
not like he's the bad coach.
Right. Well,
He was hoping
and
that-
yeah, and that was when his son committed suicide as well.
yeah, like it was like his second year with the Chiefs, or was his first year with the Chiefs?
No, his son committed suicide before.
No, I thought it was like his first or second year with the Chiefs where his son committed suicide. Like it was.
No, it was that transition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which
That's where we always kind of felt like maybe that was part of the decision, was because, hey, maybe his son was having some issues and they just felt like maybe they needed to change the scenery or something. But yeah,
not bad for a Mike Holmgren coaching staff, because
yeah,
Andy Reid, Gruden, Mariucci, they all came from the Mike Holmgren coaching tree. So,
then there's quite a bit.
but
yeah. So yeah, kind of sorry. One thing I wanted to say with the Henne drive is not only does he just come in and just do a good job and get us a score, it's a 98-yard drive.
Mm-hmm. I remember that,
because it's like, oh great, like our backup quarterback has to start in the end zone. It's like, oh gosh, okay, like let's just take the knee now, just take the loss. It's one of those things where it's just like, really, you felt like everything was stacked up against us.
No.
And and then he just is cool, calm, collect, and just come through and just nickel and dimes him. I mean, 5 yards.
You have Andy Reid as your coach, and Chad Henne is not a slouch of a backup quarterback.
Well, he's not a slouch. And then we've got a great offensive line, and I mean the mash button himself, as far as Travis Kelce, where you can just hit his button anytime and it's something's going to happen. But yeah. So that was exciting and thrilling. Definitely not something I want to relive or see again anytime soon.
No one wants the Chiefs to sweat it out against the Jaguars. So
hey, but the Jags are a good team. I'm excited for them. I'm just super happy that they've made a change or a course correction. But we're also going to make our own change in course correction and wrap this up with episode 8, the final chapter. Mahomes' injury is a concern as the Chiefs conquer a nemesis in conference playoffs and grapple with the Philadelphia Eagles in Super Bowl 57. Yeah. Had to think about it more for a second.
I will take over this segment because this is all it's all you. You're the Chiefs fan.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
This was your episode. I thought I was going to get some, Kirk Cousins. I thought I was going to get some Mariota. Guess what?
Got a little bit.
We didn't. We got at
the very end
of Mariota saying, "I'll put it this way, guys. We got a Mariota going. So I'm in Hawaii with my baby mama, and we just signed with the Giants because, and I think it was Giants, right? Was it Giants?
I really can't remember it now. I was thinking of that the other earlier too.
It was another team.
And I felt like it was a fitting move.
Yeah,
because it's a young quarterback. I think that uses his wills and he can help him out. But
who did Mariota sign with?
I don't know.
It wasn't Giants. No, it was the Giants. I don't know what the Giants came. No, it was
Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay, the Eagles. So he signs with the Eagles.
He's a fitting backup for Jalen Hurts.
Right. So he signs with the Eagles. He's sitting on the beach with his baby mama and their awesome baby, just watching the waves. I'm like, I've never been there, but hats off to you. And then Kirk Cousins, all in the episode, he was like, I have been on the NFL honors. Now I'm on the NFL honors. And I'm going to sing with Kelly Clarkson because he can sing and he has all the chains on.
Mm-hmm.
That's all and also, I'm going to save the other Kirk Cousins part for his award that he gets because I think that's worth having a lot more time to. But the whole rest of the 75% of the episode is Patrick Mahomes being Patrick Mahomes, and I'll let my counterpart tell his.
Well, I mean, I'm only going to say good things about it. I'm kind of scrubbing through right now. I mean, other than the ending scenes, yeah. They go through, the rest of the playoffs of the AFC Championship against the Bengals. Of course, his ankle, they call it ankle watch or, whatever you want. Which every news broadcaster, every little sound bite was all about his ankle for those 2 weeks, anyways. But yeah. I mean, we get a good win against the Bengals, and then we go out and they go through some of the Super Bowl pre-production stuff, the interviews and everything, which is always a good time. And with seeing him and Jalen Hurts, and really how similar these teams are. I mean, there's so many binding factors between these two teams that it seems like their culture and even just like their player roster is almost like mirroring of each other. And it could be from the seeds that Reed planted there at the organization. Could just be maybe like a little bit of a shift, or maybe we see that a little more of it, but the shift in the the quarterback play as far as who they're choosing for quarterbacks, where it's not the pocket passers, it's the ones that can run. Maybe they don't run as much as Jalen Hurts, but and I don't think they mentioned it, but it would have been funny if they actually mentioned the quarterback sneak. how bullshit of it is that they get it every time they want, but no, I mean, yeah, like for me, I mean, in the moment while all this is happening, I mean, just having the time of my life. There's all the drama and intrigue about the ankle, but at the same time, it's like knowing that you're witnessing history, even if it's just team history. So it's just really cool to enjoy it, and then really cool to go back through the quarterbacks, lens, and watch this. Some of the behind the scenes where they're actually working on the ankle. That everybody heard about, but it kind of shows behind the scenes where it's like, yeah, this is kind of what we're going to have to do to try to work it out, and because it has another Bobby Stroop kind of drop, but yeah. Then they the AFC Championship, which is actually where they're at right now, or AKA the Arrowhead Invitational.
Burrowhead.
Yeah, no, sorry, it's called Arrowhead, motherfucker.
I was waiting for you to flip it to me so I can talk about that crap. So
no, because we're not going to talk about that because it is crap. Yeah, no, we could talk about the dumbass Cincinnati mayor who doesn't know how to know his role.
That's why I flipped it to you. So I was wanting you to like air your dirty laundry. I want you to give them all the crap you have because you're the fan. I'm just a lonely Dallas fan who's never known Super Bowls. I've been to an NFC Championship game since 1995. So what do I know?
Yeah. No. I mean, anytime with that, I mean, it does get annoying, especially whenever you hear basically like bandwagon fans, like not just Chiefs sides, but there's Bengals are getting a lot of bandwagon fans now.
He's got some award of being like the best fan base in America. Of NFL fans. I'm like, did you see the stuff in 2019?
Yeah.
Go talk to a Steelers fan. Go a Chiefs fan. Go talk to a Dallas fan. Go talk to a Green Bay fan. I can give you 6 teams that are better than your fan base.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and if we're giving it out because, oh, your guys are great just because you endured so many shitty years and you finally have a good one. Yeah, that's almost every team. I mean, you've got those decades or two where your team doesn't do anything. Unfortunately, you're in that right now, but you guys will be out of it soon enough. And here in 10, 15 years, whenever, Mahomes leaves us, we'll probably be in that slump too. Having to pay maybe some of the bills as far as the salaries that we've been prolonging because we're chasing rings, so we're trying to cut costs and such. But yeah, no, I always, whenever all that stuff happened, I was loving it though because it's so entertaining, and at the same time, it was give Travis Kelce fuel, please. Give him bulletin board material. Give everybody else on that team bulletin board material as much as you want because they're going to return it tenfold. And it's not just going to be bulletin material. It's going to be scoreboard material. And that's what we did though.
Yeah. So like basically from this episode is I saw they did the bulletin board. They did the whole thing. But you also saw Patrick Mahomes realize Burrow is my counterpart. Like he never took him lightly. He
Yeah,
he
right.
respected him the like that, and so like just kind of like the curtain back of what this show showed is Mahomes going like, I'm tired of losing these guys, because you saw the previous episode before
Mhm.
where I mean, you now granted they might have, I don't know when if he actually did that expletive stuff when they did in the locker room when they lost him for the third time or whatever,
Yeah.
but
Oh yeah.
that was his nemesis. It became his nemesis, and he just had to get over him, and it went down to the wire.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah. And,
Cincinnati
and that's
next,
how all the games have been. It's not
yeah,
like they
this
have
whole
blown us
this whole
out.
year
Like we have blown them out.
for Kansas City has never been like a cupcake thing.
Yeah.
Every game came down to the wire.
Yeah.
And
The Bronco games.
yeah,
I mean, decided by 3 points on each of those. The Charger games, same thing. I mean, the Raiders, we had one that I think we had like maybe like a two score win or maybe a double digit, win, but all of them have been under 10 points. And that's how razor thin
the NFL is.
yeah, of being a Super Bowl champion and then just not making the playoffs, because there's so many good teams that could have made the playoffs and should have, but they didn't, because there's just some mistakes that just happened in that game. And I know that's where the Chiefs get a lot of criticism, much like the Patriots did, because again, I mean, winning is just going to kind of breed enemies. But people saying that he faked the leg injury a little bit more or whatever for drama, and this play went their way, and if that didn't happen, then the Eagles would have won, or Bengals would have won, or anybody we play. They say, oh well, if this didn't happen, they would have won. It's like maybe,
Yeah,
but that's how the cookie crumbled, and we've had that happen against us a lot, where I mean, like, especially with the Patriots. I mean, you had the tuck rule. Oh, if that didn't happen,
yeah.
You had Deflategate. You had a bunch of the, kind of the conspiracy theories, which a lot of those were valid, and they actually had to, serve a little bit of time or penalty. But yeah. No, I think people just kind of look for the top dog to be the enemy, because that's ultimately what it comes down to. Is whenever you're at the top, people are clawing at you, and fan bases and teams, and so whatever they can use as an edge, like Michael Jordan just being petty, whatever they can use as an edge to have a chip on their shoulder and just give them that little bit of juice just to kind of maybe get over the top of you, yeah, they're going to use it. And that's what they did with the trash talk. It just came to bite them in the butt.
Yeah.
We
No,
should
I mean, and like the kind of wrapping up the series.
Yeah.
The other
Was
thing,
there anything else on that episode that you wanted to hit, or?
yeah. So other than Mahomes doing the okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna give my Brittany Mahomes opinion at the end of it. So wrapping up with the quarterbacks, Mariota just showed up on Honolulu. I don't know why. I wish we would have had more.
Right. Yeah.
And then Kirk Cousins, you can tell when he lost to the Giants. Was it episode 7 or was it episode 8?
7. Yeah.
Did we talk about that?
Yeah.
Okay. So when
we hit on it, but yeah.
When he lost to the Giants, that was a heartbreaking loss, because he's always been known as just a guy that cannot win the game.
Yeah.
And that's fine. He's still known as that. But I love that they showed it, and I don't know, and I swear I don't think even if the cameras were not rolling, he would have done this. He was leaving the arena in his car with his family. He's driving, and he sees a couple of fans. I don't know. We don't see him off screen. He just rolled down his window and goes, "You want me to sign those for you?" And they just brought over his jersey. He just signs them. And then as they're going home, he goes, "Dang, that sucks." And then, he's dealing with the loss. And I mean, that's a tough loss. Like he has to wake up in the morning and deal with all the bull crap that is. But you know what he does? He still sits with his son. He sings him to sleep. He does like we said with Christian hymn or something like that. Like he's still true to being a father. He's still true to being a family man. He's still true to being a part of the community, no matter what happens. And that's and the biggest defeat. He still wants to be a champion for the city and a family man, and that's a big thing to me.
Yeah.
And so, yes, is he white bread? Is there no seasoning to his personality? Sure. But you can't come out of this being like Kirk Cousins is just a weird dude. Yeah, he's kind of weird. But if you met Kirk Cousins, do you think he's an amazing person?
Right. Yeah.
Who strives for greatness and unfortunately just can't get that you want and like at the end of this whole series, I want him to get there. Because he is exactly who I thought he was, and even better, because he keeps his accolades away from the rest of his family. He keeps them hidden. Mm-hmm. He doesn't put them in front of everybody else.
Yeah.
He keeps them hidden.
But they're not in the living room as soon as you walk in, so you know who this motherfucker is.
Right.
Yeah.
But the thing is Patrick Mahomes, you also know that he strives for that.
Yeah.
Mariota, I left this series thinking, dude, it's just not there. And he just hasn't come to grips with it yet. And it sucks. Because he doesn't have it. And I wish he did. But this series, nor did the rest of the media paint you in a good light of you quit on your team when they benched you.
Yeah.
Well, that was the rest of the episodes for me.
That's yours? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, no, you're good. I didn't want to interrupt. But yeah. I mean, so, to kind of hit on each of the quarterbacks in general, like you did. For Kirk, yeah, he's vanilla. He's not going to do anything socially that's probably going to like overly impress you. I mean, he's not, but he's also, I think with his character and, not just him as a Christian, just thinking him as, the core of a person, like he just wants to do everybody right. He just wants to, he'll choose forgiveness over vengeance kind of thing. And, and that's what makes him vanilla as well, because he's not overly, not ambitious, but, obnoxious or in your face or loud. Not saying that Kelsey's not a good person, but the attitude comparison, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't see Kirk grabbing a mic and yelling, "You got to fight for your right to party," and just, kind of be that party boy. He's,
walking up to the presidential podium and saying something, and then Patrick Mahomes like doing a bit with Patrick Mahomes on the presidential podium.
Dude, that's so good.
I don't see that, but like, again, but I get what you're saying. Like they're two different people, but they're both.
Yes.
They want that. You can tell that they want that.
Yeah, and they work for that too.
Mm-hmm.
So with Kirk, I mean, it's you get what you get with him, and it's kind of what you expect. But at the same time, he's probably not going to sideswipe you as an individual. I mean, like he, after a big loss, and he's got to go home and kind of work through that and get ready for the next year. Yeah, he's still stopping. Hey guys, you want me to sign up for you? Yeah. Because they're not banging on his door saying, "Hey, can you sign this?" And okay, fine. I mean, he's taking the time just to stop and ask them. And I'm sure a lot of the other players do, but it's just really cool to see that from, that representation from any NFL player. For Mariota, I want to give him as much grace, as I can, because I don't want to assume just because we don't have the footage means that there isn't, he didn't have justified reasons for leaving. But at the same time, like while it happened, it felt really weird. And of course, the media is going to spin everything. So that's going to be the headline: Mariota leaves team. But where the organization isn't giving out details in that, doesn't help that speculation at all. And if they say, hey, he's, going to take this time to, step down and, work on, his rehab and spend time with his family. That's all they had to say instead of, well, he's no longer with us. It's like, what does that mean? Like, did he die? Like, like, and they, it's crickets from his camp too. So,
Yeah, and this series should have painted him in a better light, and just we heard it showed exactly what we heard in the media, like, and it shouldn't.
Yeah, you're right. It didn't add much, which
it didn't.
I think that's where they failed.
I was hoping it would for when it happened, and all it did was, and even when it kind of tried to give Mariota grace on when he got the knee surgery and like giving him reason why he did it, and when he said why he did what he did, I'm like, I don't. You didn't say anything. You just you just like his voice just seemed bitter to me, and that's just the way I heard it. I hope I'm wrong, because I like this dude's an NFL quarterback who wants to be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, well, he's an NFL backup, so I mean he kind of in the twilight of his career, so he kind of probably accepting that. I mean, for that, we don't know what all is, was said from the coaches. I mean, we talked earlier about Rodgers and the Packers. You never really know, like, how well they get along or how healthy an organization is.
Yeah.
Like with the Browns. I mean, they're just a shit show. It's tumultuous. Like, they're always getting, new coaches, and and I think Baker was a good that team. I think they had the talent. They just didn't have the coach or leadership that would, take them there. And so then with Atlanta, I mean, is that a healthy organization? We don't know. No. I mean, they run a lot. Good Lord, and God bless them for that, because, I had, a running back or two from them. But also at the same time, but hey, they've got Desmond Ridder now, so we'll see.
And they've got a running back this year.
Yeah, who did they?
Bijan Robinson.
Oh, that's right. They did get Bijan.
Yeah,
which is dumb. I mean, good. He's going to be good no matter where he goes, but I feel like his growth is going to be stunted in Atlanta.
It's a running back. He's not going to get a good contract, and he's going to be good for 2 years, and no one's going to care about him, right? Yeah. That's what they care about running backs these days. So
that's true. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong in that. But yeah. So, with Mariota, ending it with him and his family there. We had already jumped out. I was going to actually look at that a little bit, but yeah, then with Mahomes, the family stuff, haven't seen before, but it really didn't paint Mahomes in a whole different light for me because of all the footage I've already seen. I mean, because the Chiefs put out their own weekly video during the season, and it's incredible. I mean, I think it's just called The Kingdom, but very well produced. And I don't know. I mean, now knowing that Mahomes had a production company to work with this, maybe he has production company working with them too, to get them additional footage and such. But that series is great, and it breaks down a lot of more in detail. The practice and the conversations, and it does a great job of setting up the game, but then also kind of reviewing the game that just happened in a documentary form. So, but with Mahomes, just kind of seeing a lot of that physical prep that he does, just gives that much more respect. I mean, to them and their commitment. For me, it's even, I can barely commit to doing push-ups and sit-ups.
Right.
So let alone, putting a barbell on my back and jumping up on boxes, and, just to work out, a small muscle group. But that's what they get paid for. That's why we love watching them, is because they put in so much time and dedication to being the top athletes in the world. And it's why we love football. And so, yeah, I'm excited for this series to continue. And it is going to be continuing, because they did get greenlit for a second season, but nobody's been announced yet. So that leaves the big question, man. Like, what? Who? Well, I'll let you pick which one you want to start off with, but what do you expect from season 2 that may stay the same or change, or that you would want to see? And then also, who do you think the 3 should be if they stick with 3 quarterback model?
So
Who do you think the 3 should
if
be?
they stick with the 3 quarterback model, you got to think. Okay,
Yeah.
so the Patrick Mahomes, the tier
Right.
level. I think the tier level. So
Mhm.
Patrick Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, Mariota, right? So the superstar, the guy that just can't get over the hump, and the guy that's still trying to make it in the NFL. Like that's literally what they went. So number 1 should be Josh Allen. Should be.
Yep. Pretty good.
Kirk Cousins level should be Dak Prescott. He's at that level.
Yeah.
And getting over the hump should be the Bears quarterback that I can't remember.
Jordan Love?
No. Bears quarterback.
Or sorry, not Jordan Love. God bless it. Jordan Fields.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would pick those 3 quarterbacks as far as based on how these 3 quarterbacks are, as where they are in skill level.
Yeah.
I would say that. Now,
but Fields is second year though. That was his rookie year.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can.
I mean, I wouldn't put him in the over the hump kind of category.
But they're still like, okay, Jared Goff. There. Is that better?
Yeah, Jared Goff, Stafford.
Now, Stafford's won a Super Bowl. Jared Goff would be more of.
As far as one that hasn't, yeah.
One that's like, I mean, Jared Goff's more of the Kirk Cousins level. Like I'm thinking like below that, so that's a starting quarterback, and that would be a fun one to follow, which is Justin Fields, because I would like to, obviously as a homer, I'd like to follow Lamar Jackson, but I'd rather follow those 3 quarterbacks of the, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Justin Fields, because they're both in different parts of their expectations, different parts in their careers, and they both have promise. All 3 of them have promise. That would be. I don't want, because Aaron Rodgers is never going to let anybody follow him for a season, ever, unless he has complete control. Yeah. Those 3 quarterbacks would
start a production company,
right? So that's my prediction. That's who I would like is those 3 quarterbacks, just because of where they are in careers, and it's going to be how they approach the game.
Yeah, I think for me, Jalen Hurts, I think would be a great one, because he's really not an outlandish character. He is very quiet and reserved. So it'd be kind of cool to see kind of, his life, kind of what that looks like. And, and the prep he puts in, because, I mean, he just went to the Super Bowl, and I think they're poised to make another great run at it. They're definitely my top pick for the NFC. So it'd be cool to see that, because, I feel like that would be at least a deep run into the playoffs that they would have to kind of work with. I would also really like to see Baker Mayfield. Now I am going with the Oklahoma tree right now.
Oh, where was you doing?
But Baker is a very good personality. I mean, he is very camera friendly. I mean, just kind of like with, kind of how he acts and, energy level and such of that nature. But he's got, a task with Tampa Bay, and I don't think they've decided who the starter is going to be. So I think they're still in a little bit of a quarterback debacle.
He's on his 4th team in 5 years.
Right. But also those other teams were like organization. He was with the Browns, dude. That's the worst organization ever. Like, they stunted his growth. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your responsibility, but they stunted his growth. They ruined OBJ's career. And, even though he got a little bit of a resurrection by jumping on the bandwagon with the Rams, but, and then, some of the other players, and then they made the biggest, worst decision by giving Deshaun Watson's that much guaranteed money, knowing that he wasn't going to be able to play for so long because of, some of the not rules or regulations, but yeah, some of the penalty. But anyways, yeah, I think that would be a good one because it's the person that's on the edge of backup.
Definitely gonna be entertaining for sure.
Yeah, it'd be entertaining. But I think, I think Baker still has it in him. He really is a great competitor and an athlete, but it's just, can he get into a good system, and really show that or not? Because with the Rams, he did great with the Rams. Whenever he was filling in, get him with a coach that knows how to throw.
Really, he was a Sean McVay and he didn't know how to throw. He's with Sean McVay. He didn't know how to throw.
No, I'm saying he did good with Sean McVay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Like, get him with a coach that knows how to throw.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he didn't have that at Carolina.
No.
He didn't have that with Cleveland. You know what I mean? Who was he else with before that? I mean,
it's just Cleveland.
Okay.
Carolina,
Okay. Oh, yeah.
The Rams, and now he's with Tampa.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I'm kind of saying for that. I think that's a good redemption story, if it happens. Mm-hmm. But if not, then it's still, like a little bit of a sports tragedy. But then, yeah, kind of the mid tier. I would say Kyler Murray because that's another Oklahoma tree.
I was thinking Kyler,
but I feel like him. But I feel like him and Baker are kind of like
the same.
Yeah. Like they're just in this turmoil of just are they? Is it the group or the because they got rid of the coach, right? They got rid of Kingsbury. Yeah. So there's that big transition, but they also just came off a lot of the weird stuff with the midseason HBO show.
Hard Knocks.
Yeah, it's speaking to me now.
The Cardinals going to be bad.
They're going to be rebuilding for a while.
They're rebuilding, and it just it is what it is.
And it sucks because they were so close to getting there, as far as getting all the pieces together. And but yeah, give me Kingsbury. I mean, I didn't think he was. I thought he was kind of a flash in a pan quarterback, or not quarterback, but he was a quarterback coach, but head coach.
I knew it wasn't going to last if he couldn't do that. Yeah. Like there's a lot of coaches can't even go from college to NFL that are like actually good in college, and he was mediocre in college with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah,
and then you go to the NFL and think you're going to be good. Like no, you're going to be good. Okay, it's the Chip Kelly thing. It's like they're going to figure it out. Mm-hmm. And there's better athletes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then, I don't know, there's other things, but yeah. So I think just regarding Kyler as a pick, Dak's a really good one. I think that would be because you're going to get a lot of good footage and drama and interviews from Cowboys. Mm-hmm. Maybe not necessarily in the Cardi because they'll probably have it all on Jerry. I mean, footage wise,
Jerry's gonna be That's the only reason I don't think Dak's gonna be a part of it is because Jerry wants to be so hands on that Peyton Manning's crew is gonna be like, I'm not gonna deal with this. Let's just look. Dak would be the perfect quarterback because he's in that Kirk Cousins level. He's that good, but he just can't get over the hump, and he is that awesome as a person. Like he is that Kirk Cousins type of quarterback. So I just looked at it as like the three quarterbacks that we're dealing with now, where they are in their careers.
I know who I would want. Geno Smith.
That would be a good one.
I want to see the year 2 of that incredible redemption story, and make that its own documentary by itself. Because his astronomical season last year, absolute phenom. Because everybody wrote him off, including myself. I mean, it was just like, really, Geno? Oh yeah. But now it's like, oh god, Geno's a force to reckon with. And the Seahawks, if they just keep improving, they're gonna.
2, we didn't write back.
Say what?
I said quarterback season 2, we didn't write back.
Yeah, right.
As he says, he goes, they wrote me off. I didn't write back.
Yeah, I didn't write back. Yeah. Yeah, that would be
that's a
my
good one.
three.
I like that a lot. I would like to see a
Yeah.
Geno
Ooh,
in quarterback season 3.
or Russell Wilson.
Nope. I'd rather see Geno. I'd rather see Geno so badly.
Yeah, no, that's mine. Jalen Hurts, Geno, and then Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would Jalen or Josh Allen. I'm either way with.
Oh yeah. I mean, and honestly, I mean, if you throw in the ones that, yeah, we would accept it. Joe Burrow. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you know,
Like
I mean,
top
any
tier,
of the
like
top tier.
Lamar, but I just don't think Lamar is so by himself and just so secluded. He's just not going to be.
Well, I think with Lamar, he's in limbo because of injuries, because of the Raven curse. I think this is the year that we really figure out what his NFL career is going to really kind of look like.
Maybe.
And I'm hopeful for it. I mean, I really, I mean, I know you're a big fan.
I'm the biggest Lamar stan, you know.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, but I mean, I've loved, you know, his play. It's tragic that the amount of injuries to the whole team. I mean, losing 2-3 running backs before the season starts, and then
it's the whole team.
Yeah.
It's not just Lamar.
Yeah,
I mean, Lamar was the past 2 years before he got injured, he was an MVP.
Yeah.
And then he got injured, and the team didn't make the play. And they tend to make the playoffs. But when Lamar, and people are like, "Oh, Lamar can't cut it," I'm like, he got injured in the pocket 2 years in a row. It wasn't like he scrambled. He got injured in the pocket.
Yeah.
And that's just typical quarterback play. So
yeah, but right now he's mid tier just because he was top tier, but now it's kind of like, all right, well, where's the question?
He's
but he's like, you know, 2A. He's 2A. I mean, he's at the very top, you know, if not at the very bottom of that one list, you know. But
no, he's not S tier, but he's in the A tier.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
No, S tier is only 3 quarterbacks. There's only 3 quarterbacks in S tier.
Yeah. What about Chase Daniel? Let's follow.
You talking about
the greatest backup quarterback?
The greatest backup quarterback, the Alex Moran of backup quarterbacks. For those who don't know who Alex Moran is, watch Blue Mountain State. Come back to me. You know what I'm talking about. He is the Alex Moran of backup quarterbacks. To wrap up this whole series of quarterbacks, we'll talk about Chase.
Chase Daniel.
Out of Missouri. He's been, how long has he been in the league? He's thrown over.
20 years, because he was only a few grades ahead of me.
I think he's only thrown 276 attempts, which means that in his career, every attempt is worth $200,000 for as much money as he made.
It's nuts. Just nuts. But hey,
and people are like, oh, and I think he's won a Super Bowl ring just being a backup. I think with the Chiefs.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he was with us on that year.
Oh. I feel like he's won a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah. But anyways, we're at near an hour and a half. So so final remarks on this, bud. What are 3 things you want to see in total? 3 things that you want to see different or stay the same for next year.
So the one thing I want to stay the same is the drive and the heart, the work that goes into being a quarterback. Because at the start of the season, Peyton Manning goes, quarterback is the toughest position to play in all of sports. And it basically said, we're about to show you why. And we saw a pretty good argument.
Yeah.
Did it falter throughout the season because of how the season played out? Maybe, but it really didn't. That's number 1 that I want to keep seeing. Number 2, the different personalities that can still play the game at the highest caliber. Number 3 that I want to see is a little more diversity. Not diversity, but divisiveness, or just
drama.
Yeah, not diversity, not that. Uh, Not diversity. We get to. There's a lot of diversity in NFL quarterback. They're going to do that.
Yeah,
I'm talking
I
about
mean,
like
yeah,
just
you pick three of any, it's going to be a mix. I mean, and
right,
this one was great because you had, half white, half black quarterback. You had white quarterback, and then you had a Polynesian quarterback.
right. Like
So
you
yeah,
got that, but the real hardships is long. I want to see that behind the scenes of how a coach deals with it
hmm
with their quarterback because really didn't. We sort of saw it on the sidelines, but really didn't get to see it. We never get to see the Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes like off the field. We didn't get to see the McConnell and the Kirk Cousins like really off the field. You
hmm
didn't get to see the Mariota and Arthur. I forget his last name.
we never saw any interview from him.
Right. We just
So
never.
that to me leads more credence to there's a lot of locker room issues there in Atlanta
Yeah.
because that coach didn't even step on for an
Arthur
interview.
Smith, I believe is his name.
Yeah, maybe, but
Anyway, I would like to see more of the quarterback because, like, you saw it in like you saw it in sometimes like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady be in Belichick's office, like breaking down Ed Reed.
yeah,
That was it. Like they were just breaking down, and you somewhat got that with Patrick Mahomes. You somewhat got that with McConnell, but you never got anything with Arthur Smith, and which, like you said, could be the part of that he's not a good coach, but I would like to see more of the quarterback to the head coach or quarterback coach or some coach interaction with the team because
yeah.
if this position is what you say it is, show me the devotion that the other coaching staff and players have to that position.
Yeah, I
It's
can
not
see
just
that.
a quarterback just going out there and just doing shit. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
right. Yeah, yeah. No, I can see that. Like, show a little bit more of the relationships that a quarterback is going to have and nurture.
Mm-hmm.
And because we know they're there, but yeah, what does that look like? I mean, I mean, when do they argue? Like, and what do they argue about?
Right.
And and how is that resolved? I mean, it's like growing up, or just kind of raising kids in general. I mean, you got to you have to be exposed to some of the bad. It can't all just be good, but those are the opportunities where you get to kind of model or show a little bit of an example of how do you work through tensions, how do you work through issues and communicate that. Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I like that. For me, in general with that, it's called quarterback, not coach. So I'm not sure what how much Manning would want to percentage wise have,
Right.
but I do think percentage wise, it be more fair to all three. I get it. It's Mahomes. It was the Super Bowl season, and he's the face of the NFL. So yeah, give him as much screen time because he's gonna fucking sell it, not Mariota. But now that there is a second season, show a little bit more. I mean, either get three personalities that are going to stick with it the whole season, not necessarily like team wise, but just being filmed and getting into those episodes. And even if it is, hey, if they do Jalen Hurts and then he wins the Super Bowl, great. I'm not saying don't cut his time out, but what are the other people doing during the Super Bowl? What are they doing during the playoffs when they're not playing? Like just kind of still keep a little bit of a balance where it's not the Mahomes quarterback special featuring, Kirk Cousins and, uncredited Mariota.
It pretty much was.
Yeah, because that's what it just felt like. He was a featured extra. But what I want to see three things. Yeah, so percentages a little more even as far as between the three quarterbacks. I'm with you. Keep a lot of that work ethic and expound on that maybe a little bit more. I mean, the chiropractor, the workout coach, the extra treatments,
The neurologist that
yeah,
Kirk went through.
yeah, the neurologist, the team psychiatrist. I mean, let's see more of that stuff because those are things that, yes, they are millionaires and highly paid athletes and fine-tuned machines, but at the same time, those are things we can apply in our life. Trying to eat right, trying to exercise and stay healthy, knowing your body and knowing your mind, and how can you better treat yourself so you can better treat others, and perform at a higher level, whatever your job is, or whatever your extracurricular is. Like for me right now, they had a softball game tonight I didn't go to because I am still sore from the weekend playing drums, because 37 is not as easy as 27 was.
No.
But yeah, and then I guess another thing would be maybe, and I guess it leads more to the training part, but yeah, less games. I mean, it's cool to show the drama of it, but it felt like, especially in the last half, like 20 minutes was the game itself, like going through the review of the game, basically, or like the game beats. And it's like, hey, that's great, but I don't know, just speed that up a little bit. I mean, like, because we're not here to see so much of the drama of the game itself or the play, because we can watch the game, we can watch NFL films, we can watch a lot of these ancillary stuff to get that. But if it's so crucial to a beat in the series, like an injury, or some of the biggest, like the largest comeback in history, some of those things, like, yeah, definitely show that, but it doesn't need to take 20-30 minutes to recap. And just, it felt like filler for some of those episodes. So
well, the biggest thing that I told you about is the first 4 episodes were way different than the last 4 episodes.
Yeah.
Whereas the first 4 episodes were very thematic. It was like, all right, this is how a quarterback deals with this. This is how a quarterback deals with this. This is how a quarterback deals with this. Like different situations that go on, like as far as getting hit, neurological, like those prep, like those type of things. And the last 4 episodes were like, by the way, Mariota sucks. Kirk Cousins, he's good, but he's not good enough. And then Mariota, Mahomes is going to take the rest of the episodes. I'm like,
yeah,
do more consistent, like consistently from episode 1 to episode 8. I understand how the NFL season works.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to break it up like you did in the first 4 episodes to make a theme, be consistent with it.
Yeah. Yeah. The timeline kind of threw me off a little bit at first, but then it ended up not really caring.
No.
Because the week to week games isn't the focus at all anyways. No, so
it shouldn't be.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that's where I felt good about it. But yeah, you could definitely notice a shift, and maybe it's because they didn't have as much footage. Maybe, hey, we just need to show more Mahomes because that's what's going to market the hell out of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Because people aren't really going to be logging on to Netflix and clicking on Kirk Cousins' picture.
Maybe Kirk Cousins is just that white bread that is just not good enough footage, and Mariota just didn't want to get filmed.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Look,
so
how much do you want to see Mariota pout? I guess that he's not a starting quarterback anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe I don't want to sit there and say that, but maybe that was just, I don't know. It's on the cutting room floor. But from the first 4 episodes to the last 4 episodes, there was a big shift.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like show him doing his workouts, show him rehabbing his knee, and after the surgery, and, putting in the work, which I'm sure he has because he got a contract, but, putting in, show that. And yeah, we just didn't get that. So hopefully, it's just a one-off situation as far as, hey, whatever limitation that was, or whatever choice and direction they went that way, it was because of this or that. And that's different for season 2. And we'll see who it is. We don't know yet. So, definitely, we'll keep ears out for, that announcement and let you all know. And then also be thinking about playoff time, or not playoff time. Sorry, fantasy football time. Josh, what do we got coming up, man? I mean, we got any tricks up your sleeves?
Well, it's about that time. Once August 1st rolls around, I get straight into fantasy time. And
maybe let's go.
The trend just with the NFL is fuck running backs. We're all about receivers now, which is weird.
Right. A lot of mock drafts, receivers going first round.
But are they that good?
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll find out. I know if I have a top running back pick, I'm going to go with CMC for sure and not give him up like I did last year for Lamar Jackson. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I hope you guys are excited for it. So definitely join us at Ruckus EV, right? So that's Ruckus Entertainment Variety. But Ruckus EV, pretty much on most of the socials. But the big thing is, follow us on Twitch and YouTube. And then also join us too. So we have a Patreon. You got $1 level where you're a consenting adult, and that just gets you into the Discord. That's right, I said Discord. Because it's a little bit of a rowdy time, But then we also got other tiers for competitors with Trailer Park Trivia, which we will be scheduling here soon for the third recording, and then finish up some of the editing and get those out to where probably get a little bit of a fall schedule put together. But then also the top tier, if you like us and really passionate about something in the sports, gaming, or the variety world, right? I mean, which is everything. But you wanted to get started on the YouTube channel. You don't really know how to do it. You're not that good at graphics. You don't have the subscriptions. We do. So jump on our team. We'll definitely train you on that and get you your own show, much like the Game Dudes, which like the Lunch Crunch. And then also here the Rev View, not review, but the Rev Views. We'll have a good time, and just kind of keep growing this channel, one show at a time. I think that's pretty much it. We also have a Streamlabs if you do want to send. Just kind of send us a little bit of a note. And for those that joined us, thank you so much. For those of you that are watching posthumously, let us know in the comments, what are your 3 quarterbacks that you want to see next year on the Netflix's quarterback series? But for Josh, I'm Tvshka. We appreciate you guys. You all have a good one, and we'll see you at the next. Peace. I right-clicked instead of